But you know what people never talk about either?
Hmm.
Stephen Avery. Stephen Avery's case is so diabolical that they made a whole Netflix show on it. He's
Hmm.
literally in jail, allegedly an innocent man.
Oh well.
But he can't get his case in the appellate board. They don't want to let him go because the town owed him money for a prior false conviction. Anybody talk about that though?
Of course, they
Mm-hmm.
won't talk about that because what happens is they will destroy their narrative. Not destroy, I'm sorry. It isn't a part of their narrative. And anything that will not fit nor push their narrative, they don't want to talk about. They really don't have the energy nor the wherewithal to really speak on issues that's actually surrounding this that can be similar. They're trying to drum up other issues and other incidents and apply delusional logic and call it the truth and say, well, this fits this because of that. This fits this because of that. And y'all cooning. Okay. All right, no
Right.
problem. So let's look at the facts and see what we actually get from the facts. But no problem. Got you.
Nah, they gonna look at they own nasty soul. The first, wait, before we get to this, did you know, babe, that somebody today said that Austin's Metcalf's mother looked like a man, and a whole bunch of black people was laughing, and they said she looked like one of them West Virginia folks. Now, wasn't they getting on other black people when black people was talking about Tatiana when she killed them kids because she was looking raggedy as hell?
Yeah, there was. They were saying don't talk about her because she's a grieving mother.
So
That was
why does that not apply to Austin Metcalf's mother?
wait. So because she's white, easy.
Oh, hi, Ghost.
I was just gonna ask that because that video I saw earlier was like she didn't. She looked more of African American descent or black descent or half white, half black. I didn't. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here now? How can they use the racial card if you know? But
Well,
you're
let me
saying
ask
she,
this question.
straight white.
Yeah, she's straight. If I'm not mistaken, I believe his mother is straight Caucasian.
Okay,
But let me ask this question:
yeah.
did anybody put a stop to it while they was acting a fool while clowning the look of his mother? Did anybody say, "Hey, we shouldn't be doing this. Y'all are wrong. This is terrible. This is funny"? Did anybody put a stop to it? I haven't seen none of this because I've been at work all day. So, well, what happened, baby?
They were laughing and yucking it up and piling on and putting their 2 cents in at this
Oh,
image. At this image, when this woman is giving an interview about her slain son.
and they decided that this is the perfect time to make. Oh, so they know different from the rest of humanity, right? Do the rest of humanity choose to shame, blame, and explain how it is that they feel about something, but yet their morals and values supposed to be better than everyone else's because they are steeped in delusional truth. Got it. Got it. Understood.
I
Appreciate it.
just want to see. I just want to see how they look after one of their children is murdered.
I wouldn't wish that on nobody, but at the end of the day, we all know that tomorrow is never promised. You see what I'm saying?
No, that's because you are the nice one, and people don't understand that you are the nice one. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Raw, and I don't give a fuck about your feelings. If you sat there and you made fun of this mother, this grieving mother, saying she looked like a man, most of y'all won't even turn your camera on.
Yeah.
Would hope that you look half as put together as this mother if your child died. When your child dies, come in social media and put your camera on and show your raggedy fucking face.
Right.
Let me
How
see.
dare you? How dare you? How fucking dare you? When I tell you that was the most tackiest shit I ever seen in my life, that was tacky as fuck. Niggas with the big hee haw haw smiles and grins, skinning and grinning like fucking Sambos. The fuck? Let your mama die. Let your daddy die. Let your sister, your cousin, anybody in your family die. And then come on social media. Wait, when your people die, ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about what happened to your fucking people. So ain't nobody gonna have to interview you. So you'll get to grieve in peace and quiet. You won't have cameras in your face. Because your family's death will not be a fucking national tragedy. It will not bring outrage globally. Jerry, no one has the right to say anything unless they've experienced exactly what these parents are. Shameful. Fucking shameful.
Well, and that's the problem is that, I mean, we're dealing with so many different issues right now as a country, and as individual races that share the same, we're all Americans, and the generations that are coming up now, the last couple generations, are just not the same as what the older generations were. They just don't have the same amount of respect for really anything that previous generations had. And I'm not blaming them, because it's really not their fault. It's us as parents that failed to either raise them right, or as the generations have gotten easier and more things have become available, and more of these quacks out there like Dr. Spock have got, don't spank your child, don't never yell at your child, never discipline them, let them run wild. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So the lack of respect for everything, especially parents or adults, is so low that in itself is creating tons of problems.
Nah, I
Preach.
disagree.
Why?
Because you know why? My mother was not the parent that beat us all the time, right? Now I'm not gonna hold you. Every now and again we push the envelope, right? We had to get two and together.
Yeah.
But I am of the mindset that people do not get to put their issues and their traumas off on their parents, because at this good grown age.
No, I don't think.
Hold on.
I'm not saying that. Don't blame. I'm not saying that they're pushing it off on the parents. I'm saying we as parents.
No. But that's what I'm saying to you.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Once you leave your parents' household,
yeah,
no matter what your parents did or did not teach you, right? You become an adult.
I agree.
Once you walk out their door, you are responsible for you. So if your parents let you get away with a lot, right? It's up to you to self-correct. The problem is so many people follow social media, right? And so many people get away with so much fuck shit every day, and they don't have the ambition to correct themselves. It always goes to one extreme or the other. Like people that grow up in a household with no father, right? Especially young men. They either go one or two ways. They break their balls to be the best father ever, or they say, fuck them kids.
Right.
Women that grow up with a mother that is, for the streets, they go one or two ways. They either are extremely pious, or they're going to outstreet their mother. You understand what I'm saying? That's the extreme. People that grow up with alcoholics, one or two ways. They either dry all their life, or they're fall down, drip, drop, drunk.
Well, and that's a matter of the person and their own willpower to make the decision to do the right thing. And that's the problem is we as parents, I think, and I'm not saying this applies to every single person in the world, are not preparing our kids the way that we were prepared. I mean, I was a very independent kid, and society, you can't let your kid run around at 2:00 in the morning, just bad shit happens now. So it wasn't like that when I grew up. I mean, we were running around the neighborhoods, causing all kinds of chaos. But here's a perfect example. My oldest boy, I got a 20-year-old. I mean, he is the most empathetic, smartest, down to earth, common sense kid ever. He just yelled, "Thank you." My 13-year-old, who lives with his mother, and even before we split, he is a total child of the new generation and social media and wokeness and all of that, and he's 13. And I've tried and tried and tried to straighten that out, and I just, I'm at my wit's end with him. He's a total different beast than the other one. So I take some responsibility for that.
Yeah, and I definitely hear you.
I'm just saying, all kids and all parents are different, but I think an overall problem is that, go back a few years, right? Go back like 8 years or something like that, or 12 years. I can't remember. But, there was a big stink about all these kids, for generations, what was the message? Go to college, get a degree, get a good job. Don't be the guy that works at McDonald's. Don't be the guy that's a janitor. Da 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 da. I mean, that was just what we taught our kids as a society. And then when it came to a point where, they went to school and they got a degree and it was worthless, and we're telling them, well, you're going to have to work, and get a job. McDonald's is hiring $15 an hour. Oh, I ain't going to do that. Well, you always told me not to do that.
Bad to go back a little before that, because I graduated high school in 2008. The biggest problem we had during that time was it was no child left behind.
Yeah.
And what they was doing was it was pretty much just passing any and everyone. As long as you had a D, they passed you, right?
Yep.
And what they allowed for was the mediocre first of all, I was in Detroit public school systems, and our education system was mediocre already. So you was already allowing mediocre children to have mediocre education, and they wasn't really pushing for the structure and the influence that was needed to have a better education unless you paid for it. Now in 2008, a lot of the public schools that was available was getting shut down for private schools, or charter schools as they call them. And what that did was that put a lot of people in a bind, because a lot of the people in Detroit wasn't really making a whole lot of money like that. So what they did was they start shipping their children off to schools that was further away, that still had that K through 12 system. And that was a problem as well, because you have kindergartners going to the same school as 12th graders. And we already know that's a problem within itself. But because of the curriculum being so bad and the industry, as far as the economic goes in the workforce, it was just all bad all the way around. So a lot of people, well, baby, how that old saying go? You got kids raising kids, or you got kids raising themselves. That
babies
was just
raising babies.
Babies raising babies. So we had to learn how to grow up. I am the youngest of a group of 6. I have 5 siblings, right? And me being the youngest, excuse me, my next oldest, like the next oldest of my father's litter, and I say my father's litter funnily, but the next oldest of my father's litter will be my brother, and he's 5 years older than me. And then after that, I got 4 sisters. And my older sisters, my oldest sister has passed. She passed in 2010. So
I'm sorry.
It's all good. But during this time wave, there wasn't really a push for a infrastructure of stabilizing education. It was more so all you got to do is get a D and you pass. As long as you didn't have an F, right? We allowed for everyone to the participation trophy culture, right? As long as you showed up, you got a trophy. Why is it that we are giving Why is it that we are giving accreditations to the people who passed in fourth place? And you just what you did was you defeated the purpose of even having the drive or the inspiration to even try to make first place. What would I need to be successful for if I can get the same treatment that I'm going to get in last place that I'm going to get in first place?
Right. Well, and that same. The sad part is that same, lack of logic. I'm not going to say logic, but that same lack of logic, is the same way with the welfare system. We're going to give you this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this to not work. What's going to give these people motivation to go out and work?
None.
And be ambitious. Yeah, exactly. None.
Mm-hmm.
So
the same shit that'll motivate them to go out and commit fucking crime.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. This is the thing for me. For me, I grew up in the city, and I'm talking about in the Bronx. I'm talking about in the Polo Ground. People is just fucking lazy, yo. You could get up to go scam, to go steal, to go hustle, so you could get high. So you could get some fucking sneakers and some Chinese food. That just says that's your station in life. And the rappers and the boosters and the hustlers done taught these people materialism, right? Without any substance behind it. Then the preachers then got in church and beat black people out their head. You want to know the real truth? The real problem in the black community is the church.
Really?
Absolutely.
Preach.
Explain more, please. I'm interested to hear this.
Because the church is supposed to be free. It's supposed to be freedom of church and state, separation of church and state. Meanwhile, politicians are always at the church house. That's a problem.
Yeah.
The church has the most money in the African American community, and it's completely tax free. Meanwhile, no other businesses in the African American community are thriving. Yet the church does not do any educating in regards to
I thought did you
Malcolm D, what's going on? What's your question? Go ahead.
Hold on. I wasn't finished.
Okay, you stopped talking. We were like, did the mic break? What?
Oh no, she had a Michael invasion.
He's trying to get all the candy. I got them snacks and stuff for the weekend. He trying to eat them today, and I'm not gonna let him. So he mad at me. He want to fight. But the church did not teach the African American community money management. The church does not rally around together to protect the sick and the shut in. The church does not provide any type of financial assistance to those that are downtrodden. They make them feel bad and less than when they cannot pour into the tithes bucket on Sunday.
I agree with you, and unfortunately, the white community has the same problem. You look at the church, like here's a
Booba, check your messenger.
Me? Nope.
I said Booba. My bad.
Booba,
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't hear well, man. I'm old. I'm falling apart.
It's okay. It's all right.
I really ain't that old, but boy, I feel like it some days.
It's all right. Go ahead, Bad Dog.
It's like my ex-wife. So they went to Methodist churches when she was a kid. She's 13 and started having all these problems, and nobody could figure it out. This went on for 2 years. They couldn't figure out what was going on. Meanwhile, she's getting worse and worse. She's showed me examples of stuff she was writing at 13 that looked like kindergartner. She couldn't even control her hands to write properly. So they finally figured out she's got a brain tumor. Luckily, it wasn't cancerous. It was benign. And, they got that out, and for the most part, she healed up just fine. But her family didn't have money to be donating to the church, giving it 10% and tithes and all that stuff. So they kicked them out of the church during this. Said, you're no longer a member of our church. What the?
And they ought to be ashamed.
Yeah. I just like, what the hell?
Bad Duck, let me ask you a question. You don't have to say exactly where, but where did you grow up at? Where are you from?
I know you I heard you say West Virginia. So let me backstep. My dad's family is from West Virginia, Appalachian, West Virginia. Okay. My mom's side of the family is from California. She actually grew up in the Watts during all of that nightmare that happened.
The Watts riots? Oh, she's a gangster then if she survived that. She's a G.
And
your mama didn't play.
no. So I don't know what the underlying reason was. My dad moved to Nebraska, but my grandpa on my mom's side was originally from Nebraska, or my dad my mom's father was originally from Nebraska, so they moved back here at some point, and then, like I said, I'm not sure how my dad ended up in Lincoln, but he did. But then they were both divorced with one child each, and then they got married, and I was the miracle mistake, wasn't supposed to happen baby, is my understanding. And so I grew up in Nebraska, actually. So Midwestern boy. But I grew up in the city, so in the capital, in Lincoln.
Gotcha. So in this time when you was growing up in the city, right?
Right.
I'm gonna ask the simple question. Would you say that y'all was low class or middle class?
No, we were definitely not upper class.
Okay.
We were.
Well, we talking. Well, you up there in age, right? I ain't trying to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 55 age now, so I'm,
so you was born around the same. No, because my dad was born in 55. So no, y'all not the same age.
No.
Y'all not the same.
No, they. I would say we were, mid level class. My parents, for as long as I remembered, always ran their own businesses. And my dad was brilliant with knowing how to get in, make the money, and get out of the business and start another startup business and make money and get out, So, I mean, that's what I grew up around. But we weren't rich. We weren't, poor. So.
You were rich. You were rich. You were rich.
No. I wish, but no.
You know, whatever else I find offensive for your people too? When they act like white people only eat flavorless macaroni and cheese.
Well, I do, but no. Don't get me started on white entitlement, because that argument just irritates the piss out of me. Because I sit back as a white guy who didn't get to go to college till he was 30 and couldn't get no help from the government until I didn't work for 3 years straight before they actually would give me loans and grants to go. And, I lived paycheck to paycheck my entire life. Now, yeah, I have some savings, and yeah, I have some retirement funds and things like that. But, I'm not rich. I'm just doing okay. And, thank God I get
retirement funds. What are that?
Well, let me put my retirement fund in more realistic talk. At the point I really started it, I'll never have enough to actually retire. I mean, there's some money in there, but there ain't enough to retire on. So.
No, buddy. You're investing in crypto, okay? You are a millionaire.
No, my ex-wife's her stepdad's younger brother is into crypto, and I don't know, man. He had it figured out, and I should have listened to him and gave him some money at the time. But he's got that game figured out, and he is doing all right. Now, if you look at his physical assets, of actual wealth, he doesn't really have anything. He's got a house and a car, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't have, like, buttloads of money sitting in the bank. But if you look at his crypto worth, he's doing well.
He does. He does. Shh. Shh. Don't you tell them white people out here struggling?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What time out? So you mean to tell me white people struggle? Damn.
No.
I told y'all, stop telling these white people business. Stop telling the white people business. See, somebody want to tell me I'm a Peckerwood protector. You don't really want me to come out here and start talking to you about white people.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this
These
out there.
motherfucking people get on my goddamn nerve. Oh, Jesus.
I want to throw this out there and ask you guys what you think about this. So don't kill me, please. But two worst things that ever happened for the free market of this country, and for the workers, and for everybody else, the unemployed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Minimum wage. I'll tell you my reason. Because it gave employers the ability to say, I only have to pay you $3.25. I only have to pay you $7.50 or whatever. Whereas if there was no set minimum wage, it would be for, if you don't like it there, you go work someplace else, pays better. And the people who want the best people are going to pay more. Okay? Affirmative action, the other one. Horrible idea. Just as this whole diversity inclusion thing has been. You're forcing companies to hire people to meet a quote, not based on being the best, having the most knowledge, but on, I got to meet this quota so the government doesn't come down on me. I think they need to rid that. And here's the deal. Everybody's like, oh, white entitlement, white privilege, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you about my white privilege, okay? When I'm trying to go to school and I'm trying to better myself, I go up to the grants boards and the scholarship boards. I don't see no single white male scholarships up there. I see scholarships for every other thing, but there sure ain't one for single white male. So, just like in any community, there's people who have money and there's people who don't have money.
I have to say that again.
That's true. Yeah. But I think, there is an inherent belief that the single white male has more opportunity to attain wealth in America.
But I think
whether we like it or not, it's predicated upon the people that created the laws in the land. Now,
but I think if we keep believing that, Robbie, that if we keep believing that is what is keeping people down. I don't think anybody should ever have the attitude that, well, somebody has more opportunity than me. Bullshit. This is America. Get out, work your ass off, show them employers how good you are, show them schools how smart you are, and you will go far. It don't matter the color. I don't buy it.
It's not supposed to matter.
No, it's not supposed to. No, I'm not saying in every case there isn't a situation where, John B. Racist doesn't own some company that, that somebody wants to work for and they ain't going to hire him. I'm not saying that, because that's the realism of the situation. But that goes both ways, I think. So I think there could be a company owned by, John B. Black man that doesn't want to hire white people. That's just his preference.
That's the thing that has happened over the history of this country is, and we know because of redlining, and we know because of how the banks was really holding back on giving a lot of Black people the opportunities that was afforded to everyone else, how it is that our prices was doubled, if not triple or quadruple, when it came to us even trying to get housing and stuff like that. Yeah. We know that because of people's agendas and their intent, that anyone who is not of that background, right? I mean, we just covered a story last year where Disney themselves was pretty much discrimination, practicing discrimination, right?
Right.
See, back, baby, what year was what timeline was that when it was like when the banks was like holding out against Black people? What timeline was that? That's like the 60s, 70s or something.
Yeah, the 60s. You see, get out of my head. This is how you know we're meant for each other. Because I was just gonna bring up Bernard Garrett and Joe Morris. They put them in jail.
Now wait a minute, hold on. Are you two a couple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Husband and wife.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was picking up that vibe just a couple times, but I wasn't sure. So I'm just that's cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's all cool. Me. Yes. So when we're talking about Brendan Garrett and Joe Morris, who were in jail, right? Federal crimes for owning a bank
Right.
for racial discrimination. There was racial moves to stop black people from having wealth. So some of the points are valid. Redlining is valid, and redlining affects the vast majority of people in the world today and their generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not one to ever say that white people are not poor, because what a lot of black people fail to realize in the conversation is a lot of white people came here under indentured servitude.
Yeah.
So they were forced to live under the same conditions that African Americans were forced to live under.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
That's
again, I
that's
know
that whole thing is there's so much information out there, and or lack of people not wanting to learn or figure out on themselves what, it's like, oh, the white people started slavery and the white people did. No, it was
we're
happening a
gonna be
long time before freaking America was invented.
if people
Eh,
want to be honest, slavery started with the Spaniards, to be quite frank.
well, and even the tribes in
Yeah.
Africa. The tribes in Africa would take each other as slaves. The tribalism back in the day. I mean, and that's just the way the life was back then.
Wait, Bad Duck, I got even one better for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking about transatlantic slave trade. But
Mm-hmm.
slavery really started by the Middle Easterns. These people go to church. They go to church. Literally, what's the biggest story in the Bible?
Slavery.
Moses freed the slaves
Right.
from Pharaoh. Like, it literally started in the Middle East. In fact, slavery is even mentioned in the Quran. But again, people don't read nothing but the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And then they want to sit there and tell somebody. Like, you don't even know the history of all the black people across the diaspora.
Right.
You barely know the history of these contiguous United States of America. But back to your earlier question, what's the biggest downfall of America was when they started sending jobs overseas because these corporations didn't want to pay the American people. It was the dismantling of the industrial complex. But again, Bad Duck, don't pay me no attention, because they swear to God, I don't know what the fuck I be talking about.
Yeah, no, you don't know anything. But but then you got to look at who is responsible for that happening.
The Democrats. It was the Democrats.
I didn't say it. But yes, you are 100% correct. You win a prize.
Okay, really quick, baby. Yeah. I love you. I gotta go do I gotta go do the WrestleMania review with Christopher J. So Bad Duck, it was good seeing you again. Shout out to everybody that stopped by. I appreciate and love each and every one of y'all. Make sure y'all support even after the show. I will holler at y'all later, baby. I gotta go.
$20. Can I have $20? No, I'm just playing. I'm just
playing.
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Yeah, baby. Listen, I send it to you on Cash, so that way you got the money directly.
Oh no, because I'm just playing. Oh, shit. Go through your show. I'll be over there. Bad up, but go ahead and give your final thoughts. Like I said, these people that got underneath my last ass nerve, and I'm gonna be dragging them until Jesus come back again and tell me to stop it.
Oh, amen. Yeah, I can't wait for that day.
Me too.
Let me finish my final thought on that. A little Bible thought for people, because a lot of people, I think, misunderstand. Well, there's that. But I think a lot of people misunderstand the Bible when it talks about, the apocalypse, the end of days, et cetera, et cetera. They see a lot of doom and gloom, and they go, I can't read this stuff because it's all doom and gloom. And, God's going to kill us all off and da-da-da-da-da and all of this. What they fail to realize is, that is the last moment or the last stage of the end of days, before the glory of Jesus comes back and resurrects everybody, or everybody good, and we all live in a harmonious world. We live in a beautiful world. We don't have to worry about anything anymore. We don't have the strife that we have today. So never look at that, the Revelations and Psalms and all that. Never look at that as a doom and gloom. Look at that as what's coming after that is going to be perfect. And right now, our loved ones that are sleeping and waiting for us, we'll get to see again because they'll be resurrected, you know, in this beautiful place. So I just be positive, people. That's what I want to say. Be positive. Everything's going all right. We'll get there. Let's all work together. You know, I'm happy to talk to anybody anytime about anything.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. Well, thank you for coming up. I definitely am enjoying your perspective, and I look forward to having plenty more conversations with you.
I do too. Thank you. I really appreciate you letting me come on and like I said, I'm learning stuff too. So I'm learning quite a bit of things that I don't have access to, normally. So for me, it's good. The knowledge is key. Get more knowledge, get more key, get more power, um, and everything just keeps getting better. That's the best advice I can get to everybody. Don't be afraid to have a conversation. Have a conversation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Vanda.
Thank you. You have a wonderful night too.
You too. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
Listen, we all know that I can read y'all down to the gods. I can. It's very easy to do. But at the end of the day, a lot of people really need to change their mental perspective and their purvey. Broaden your horizons. Start reading some books. Get to know some history, some education. Stop running around assuming what it is that you think you know, what it is that you think you don't know. Like, it's ridiculous. Educate yourself. All it takes to be an autodidact is the will. But when I see people making fun of grieving families, all in the name of racism, I can't. While they lay up with people that are white. See, this is the thing I be telling people about interracial relationships too. Just because you fuck somebody with a different skin than you, don't mean you got no respect for them or their culture. You know how many white women I done seen call black men nigga? You know how many black men I done seen disrespect white women? Y'all don't even care about black people for real. Because your everyday attitude, affect, and behavior does not show support, gratitude, love, or longevity for black people. It is not empowering the community. And I, for one, am quite disgusted when black people reference people in history, yet they can't tell you not one damn thing about not one speech they made and why that speech was so impactful and what was happening at the time. When they can't really tell you the 10-point system or the blueprint to what Huey Newton was trying to do. When they have no idea of the foundation of the NOI. When they're not out in these streets mentoring no children. You know they're not, because they're on social media all day, every day, 25/8, instead of going to have a job. When their overall dichotomy and talking points are predicated upon sexual degeneracy. When they're not out here talking about politics, policy, power, or property. Nah, y'all not doing shit for the community. How many times you gonna tell somebody who the fucking how? Again, you give a man a fish, they gonna eat for one day. You teach a man to fish, they gonna eat for life. So why y'all not teaching your brothers and sisters how to fish? Teach you how to fish, but people are very hard-headed. They don't know how to listen. That being said, Godspeed and God bless. And I'll catch y'all whenever I feel like coming back. Take care.
It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Right now, I'm going to mind my fucking business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my mind your business. 100K or more in my pocket. I need 20K by this week. I need 100K or more. You hear me? In cash. I need 20K by this week. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. I don't live here. I'm chilling. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Clear the way. Clear the way. Clear the way. You hear me? It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Right now, I'm going to mind my fucking business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my business. It's against my religion to tell y'all my business. Tell y'all my mind your business. I need 100K or more in my pocket. I need 20K by this week. I need 100K or more. You hear me? In cash. I need 20K by this week. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. Talk too much. You talk too much. I don't live here. I'm chilling. Sway, this my shit.
Sway, the remix god.
Please come here. Come.